Good afternoon, welcome to Vanik-Ias. We will discuss current affairs of 14th March. First is related to international relation, that is chemical weapon convention and biological weapon convention. Why we are discussing this topic? Because it is Russia, US said that Russia is planning for chemical and biological attack, and Russia said the same thing, that US has the repository of biological and chemical attack in Ukraine, right? So both countries said to each other that they both are planning chemical and biological attack. Okay, this is very serious. Chemical and biological attack, this is application of microorganisms or living beings to kill people. Okay, right? That is biological attack. And chemical attack, various chemicals, they can kill people, and these are very dangerous. If we in our nuclear doctrine, in India's nuclear doctrine, there are various provisions, and one of the provisions is that if any country uses chemical and biological weapon, then India will use nuclear weapon, right? We have a policy of no first use. We will not use nuclear weapon for the first time, and we will never use nuclear weapon on a country who do not have nuclear weapon, right? But if any country uses chemical weapon and a biological weapon, then India may apply nuclear weapon, right? So from this principle, you can also imagine that how severe chemical and biological weapons are. They are considered almost equivalent to attack by nuclear weapon, right? Biological and chemical weapon, they are Indian government considers it equivalent to nuclear weapon, right? Because it says that if other country attacks India via nuclear weapon, then India will reply with massive retaliation, right? And similarly, India will also apply nuclear weapon if somebody attacks by chemical and biological weapon. So in the crisis of Ukraine crisis, both Russia and US alleged each other that both have possessed chemical weapons. So what are these chemical weapons? A chemical weapon is a chemical used to cause intentional death. It may cause intentional death and harm through its toxic components. Munitions device and other equipment specifically designed to weaponize toxic chemicals also fall under the definition of chemical weapons. So all these toxic chemicals, right? Designed weaponized toxic chemicals. Even these toxic chemicals are weaponized and attacked and applied against the enemy people, then that is called as chemical weapon. Next. So what are the initiatives? India's Chemical Weapon Convention Act 2000, Chemical Weapon Convention Act in case of India, was passed to implement Chemical Weapon Convention, right? What is this Chemical Weapon Convention? This is an organization, Chemical Weapon Convention. It provided for the establishment of National Authority for Chemical Weapons Conventions. National Authority for Chemical Weapons Convention, or NACWC. This body is established by Chemical Weapons. This body is established by Chemical Weapons Convention Act 2000. Right? This is in case of India. This institution formed in 2005. Remember, for prelims perspective, it is very important. This is Chemical Weapons Convention Act 2000. It is founded in 2005, and that led to establishment of National Authority for Chemical Weapons Convention. Okay, is a chief liaison between Government of India and the Organization for this international body, Organization for Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, Organization for Prohibition for Chemical Weapons. Many times they ask these international bodies, right? In UPSC prelims exams, you will see that many times they are asking about various bodies. So this body is in news, so it is very important. Organization for Prohibition of Chemical Weapon, that is OPCW at global level. And what are the other conventions? We know that Basel Convention, Rotterdam Convention, Stockholm Convention, right? They relate to hazardous chemicals and wastes. You will study in prelims, right? See Shankar IAS book. There is all these All these conventions are mentioned: Basel Convention, Rotterdam Conventions, and Stockholm Convention. They are very important. Then the Basel and Rotterdam and Stockholm Conventions are multilateral environmental agreements. Multilateral environmental agreements which share common objective of protecting human health and environment. Common objective of protecting human health and environment from hazardous chemicals and wastes. Right? From hazardous chemical and waste, these three conventions are very important. The Australia group, another group is Australia group. So they may combine a question regarding claims: which of the following organizations which of the following organizations are protecting human health in the world. So organization and conventions. They may give the options: one is Basel, second is Rotterdam, third is Stockholm, third is Australia group. Then you must write all of these, right? If there is not mentioned or any other organization or convention is mentioned, for example, suppose there will be Vienna Convention, then obviously that will be wrong, right? So these are the three conventions, that is Basel, Rotterdam, and Stockholm, and next your Australia group. These four entities, through harmonization of export control, the control export, seek to ensure that exports do not contribute to development of chemical and biological weapons. Suppose if you are exporting certain materials, you must ensure that that is not developing chemical and biological weapons, because they are very fatal for the humanity and that will cause mass destruction of lives. So this page is full of prelims fact. We have already discussed. The act is the Chemical Weapons Convention Act 2000 that established National Authority for Chemical Weapon Convention, that is in 2005, and that is a link between Organization for Prohibition of Chemical Weapon and India. And so far as global convention are concerned, there is Basel, Rotterdam, and Stockholm Convention, and Australia group, right? Next. Then what is the Chemical Weapons Convention? It is a multilateral treaty. It is a multilateral treaty, right? It is not an organization, it is a multilateral treaty, an international treaty. Chemical weapons requiring their destruction within stipulated time, right? Treaty banning chemical weapons and requiring their destruction within stipulated time. Okay. Next, negotiation for the CWC began in 1980 at the United Nations Conference on Disarmament, right? Disarmament means reduction of these deadly weapons. For example, be it nuclear weapon or ballistic missiles, or your nuclear weapon or chemical weapon or biological weapon. So here it is banning chemical weapons and requiring their destruction within a particular time. Next, the convention was drafted on September 1992 and open to signature for January 1993. It becomes effective from April 1997. It becomes effective from April 1997. That means if there is biological and chemical weapons are found in particular country, then it will be destroyed, right, immediately. It makes mandatory to destroy old and abandoned chemical weapons. Mandatory to destroy old and abandoned chemical weapons. If there is any type of weapons exist there, then that need to be destroyed. Members should also declare that riot control agents, sometimes referred to as tear gas, in possession of them. If any country has tear gas, then they should declare it. Organization Prohibition of Chemical Weapons in an international organization established by CWC in 1997 to implement and enforce the terms of the CWC. So this organization, right, convention, so Chemical Weapon Convention, that is CWC, it has led to an organization that is called as Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons. This will implement the principles of CWC in 1997, right. So it's an international treaty and it came into effect in 1997. It is mandatory for all the countries to destroy their existing chemical weapons. It's one type of disarmament. This negotiation started in the United Nations, right? United Nations. This negotiation for disarmament started in the United Nations, right? This led to establishment of Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons. Okay. What is the Chemical Weapon Convention? Okay, next we will see. Members, who are the members of it? Around 190, so almost all United Nations, and 150, 160 are signatories. That means those who are agreed to implement it. India is a signatory to the convention, so India cannot possess conventional weapon, chemical weapon or biological weapon. Then convention prohibits the development and production, acquisition of stockpiling and retention of chemical weapons. This prohibits development, production, acquisition, stockpiling, retention of chemical weapons. So India cannot do all these things. Next, transferring the chemical weapons. We cannot transfer chemical weapons. We cannot use chemical weapons. Assisting other states to indulge in activities that are prohibited by civil. So you cannot help other countries to start chemical weapons. For example, suppose China cannot help Pakistan to develop chemical weapon. If that is found, then that is violation of the treaty. Using riot control devices like warfare methods. Riot control devices. Yes, tear gas. But tear gas is allowed because it is not too dangerous, right? It's one type of also chemical weapon, but that not too dangerous. That's why that is, and it is in many US government they have informed the CWC that they are going to use it. So this is all about, these are the bans, these are the prohibitions that are imposed by CWC. Then what is a biological weapon? Biological weapons are microbiological agents such as bacteria, viruses and fungi. Right? Some of the people who, when COVID pandemic comes, they declare that yes, this COVID-19 virus is also a biological weapon applied by China and to destroy all the whole world. But actually that's a conspiracy theory, which to many extent that is not proved, and that is not possible also, because China itself has suffered so much. And whenever a country like India or China, they suffers economically, that whole world suffers. And if India, China or US, it will suffer any economic crisis, then the whole world will suffer the economic crisis, because they are big markets, right? And nobody wants, because all economy is interconnected. So this biological weapon theory regarding COVID pandemic is COVID-19 disease is not right. The 19th so intentionally cause death to harm humans. So these virus, they will cause death to human, animals or plants. Then what are the other institutes? Then Geneva Protocol 1925. It banned the use of biological weapons in war. India ratified Geneva Convention 1950. Not to use biological weapons in war. Then subsequently, Biological and Toxin Weapons Convention, BTWC, Biological and Toxin Weapons Convention, BTWC, which entered into force in 1975, prohibited the development, production, stockpiling, acquisition and retention of biological weapons. India ratified this in 1974. Okay. That is Biological and Toxin Weapon Convention. India has also ratified. They may ask such a question like, which of the following convention India has ratified? One is biological toxin weapons, then another is Geneva Protocol, right? And suppose third is CWC. So here all of this, it is ratified by India. That means India agrees to be party of it, and India agrees to not agree to the provisions of these conventions. Next. What is Biological Weapon Convention? It is a key element of the international community efforts to address conventions of mass destructions. Address weapons of weapons of mass destruction. What are the weapons of mass destruction? That is chemical weapon, biological weapon, then your nuclear weapon. These are called as weapons of mass destruction. Then proliferation, and it has established a strong norm against biological weapons. It has established a strong norm against biological weapons that no country can use biological weapons. This weapons of mass destruction is a weapon with capacity to inflict death and destruction with a massive scale, and so indiscriminately that its presence in the hands of a hostile power can be considered as grievous threat. Yes, if any country is possessing nuclear power, or if any country is possessing chemical power or biological chemical weapon or biological weapon, it will be considered that they are creating a huge threat to the enemy, to the nearer countries or enemy countries. It's almost like a nuclear weapon, right? So these are considered will be threat. So that will create security dilemma, and obviously that need to be discarded. Formally known as the Convention for Prohibition of Development. The Convention on the Prohibition of the Development, Production and Stockpiling of bacteriological and toxin weapons and their destruction. It's very long. It is known as Convention Prohibition of Development, Production and Stockpiling of Bacterial, Biological and Toxin Weapons and on their destruction. The convention was negotiated on the Conference of the Committee of Disarmament, Geneva. Conference of the Committee on Disarmament, Geneva. Right? Disarmament means you have various armaments, ballistic missile, you have cruise missile, various missiles and weapons. You have to destroy them. Why? Because you have to reduce the security dilemma. What happens? What is security dilemma? If any country, suppose India is, suppose China, suppose Pakistan is developing its weapons, so obviously India will develop its weapons. And suppose India developed its weapon military capacity, obviously Pakistan will develop its military capacity even without having food, right? They will increase their military capacity. So both countries will continuously, they will increase their military capacity in the hope that if war happens, then both will fight with each other. So it's like a waste of money. If you are just keeping and huge amounts of military weapons and without, obviously there will be no use. If you are just stockpiling it, that is by cutting the resources from human resource development, then obviously it's a loss for humanity. That is called a security dilemma. If your nearer countries, for example China is aggressively increasing its military capacity. So obviously India has to increase its military capacity, because any times it can become a threat to India, and India should have that much of capacity so that it can defend itself, right? That is disarmament. It opened for signature on 10th April 1972 and entered into force 26th March 1975. 26th March 1975, this against this convention against biological weapon, it is entered into force. Okay, who are the members? 183 states are parties and 4 are signatory states. India is a signatory to the convention. Remember all those conventions, all the international treaties into which India is a signatory. Then what are the prohibitions? It effectively prohibits the development, production, acquisition, transfer and stockpiling of the biological and toxin weapons. Any type of biological weapons are banned, or it prohibits, right? Then it was the first multilateral disarmament treaty banning entire category of weapons of mass destruction. Enter category of weapons of mass destruction, that is biological weapons or chemical weapons or nuclear weapons. But it's not entire category. Okay, it is, if you consider what is a biological weapon, then all the type of biological weapons are banned, right? But so far as if you ask that what are the weapons of mass destruction, then they are chemical weapons, and then there is also biological weapons, but they are not banned here. Only all type of biological weapons are prohibited. We will go to the next topic, that is economy MSME scheme. What is this MSME? That is medium and small scale industries, right? Medium and small scale industries, MSME, entrepreneurship. Why they are important? They are important because the MSMEs provide huge amount of employment resources, right? Opportunities. They also significantly contribute to our export, right? They provide various employment. They especially provide rural employment because they are very small scale industries, right? And that is in the line of Gandhi's idea of self-sufficiency, village development of rural economy, development of economy. So that is MSME sector. Government is aggressively focusing on MSME sector to in the line of skill India mission, and also that scheme, there are various schemes. One is, that is most important, is your Mudra scheme. They will promote entrepreneurship. They will promote rural entrepreneurship, so that a rural youth, they can take a loan from the government and they can establish a small unit like food processing. You can establish food processing industry. You can convert the, suppose you can create aloo chips, or you can create tomato sauce. All these things are food processing industries, or handicrafts. All these things, they require very small investment and they create employment. They are employment intensive industries, right? After agriculture, textile industry, this is employment intensive industry, right? After textile, there is garment industry, right? Garment industry or food processing industry, they are labor intensive industries, and they will solve the problem of unemployment. So recently, the Ministry of MSME, medium scale and small micro enterprises, has launched MSME innovative schemes. MSME innovative scheme, incubation, design and IPR, along with MSME Idea Hackathon 2022. Okay, we will understand each one, right? What is incubation, what is design, and what is IPR. And there is also MSME Idea Hackathon. That means if you have an idea, then let's promote it. What is the key points? It is the combination of existing sub schemes around incubation, design and intellectual property rights. The government also announced equity support. Government announced equity support of 1 crore for the commercialization of ideas, designing and patents across all the 3 sub schemes, and also help MSME further scale up to raise subsequent funding. So one more thing is that government has announced the equity support of 1 crore. You can develop your MSME sector. Then for this, a separate corpus will be created and managed by SIDBI, that is Small Industries Development Banks of India. SIDBI, Small Industry Development Bank of India, it is a part of MSME that will fund the MSME sector. Okay. Next, SIDBI set up on 2nd April 1990 on the Act of Indian Parliament as the principal financial institution for promotion, financing and development of MSME, right? Principal financial institution for promotion, financing, development of MSME, medium and small industries. Suppose you want to establish a particular industry, you want money for that, right? You want credit for that, and that will be ensured by this SIDBI bank. It is a financial manager. As well as the coordination of function of institution engaged in similar activities. All coordination among the functions of institution, all those branches of MSME who are there to improve MSME sector, they cooperate with each other. The new scheme will ensure support through guidance, financial support, technical support, and more to MSMEs. So this will provide guidance. What are the guidance? How you will start entrepreneurship? What are the products you may create, and what will be the marketing support? All these things that will be also supported by the new scheme. The new scheme will act as a hub for innovation activities. Facilitating and guiding the development of ideas into viable business propositions that can benefit society directly, right? For example, in the health sector, there are so many, in recent years, there are so many small industries or micro industries are developed in health sector. Production of small, for example, one is your, there you can suppose a particular company is there, it is producing a machine that will test your blood pressure, or that will test your oxygen level. These are small scale industries, you can produce them. So in health sector also, various MSMEs are created, and government is giving them credit support and ideas and marketing ideas, all these things, that is provided support. Next, then what are the components? First is incubation. What is this incubation? The primary objective of the scheme is to promote and support untapped creativity and to promote adoption of latest technology in the MSME, seek validation of their ideas and proof of concept level, right? If you have certain ideas but you don't have money, suppose you have ideas like Oyo, but you don't have money to do that, right? And you don't have idea to do that, that will be and that can be translated. That can be translated into auction. Government will support you with technical advices, and that will, and you will work on that, and that will become a industry. That is incubation. As a part of the incubation scheme, government announced the launch of an MSME idea hackathon. Idea hackathon, what are the ideas you have to create an MSME, right? If you want to sell vegetables, suppose you want to create anything like that, any MSME or production of a particular production of a particular commodity, then that will be supported by the hackathon, MSME idea hackathon. Then financial assistance up to 15 lakh per idea, financial assistance up to 15 lakh per idea, and up to 1 crore for relevant plants and machines will be provided. For example, you are establishing a sewage treatment plant that will, from where you will generate electricity from waste. These things will require more money as compared to only as more than 15 lakhs, right? So there will be up to 1 lakh crore you will be provided. Design. The objective of the component is to bring Indian manufacturing sector and design expertise, design fraternity onto a common platform. It aims to provide expert advice and cost effective solution on real time design problems for new product development. It continuous improvement and value addition, how to improve your product, because unless if you start and develop a particular product having good quality, it will not sustain in the market, it will not be competitive. So the ideas regarding design and to develop this manufacturing sector, that will be also provided by design expertise and design fraternity. All they will cooperate to improve the design and improve the quality of your product. Okay, next, on which direction it will work? Third is related to IPR. What is this IPR? Intellectual property right? This will increase the innovation. IPR will increase innovation. Your technology cannot be misused. Your idea cannot be misused. IPR has various types of IPRs. For example, one is copyright, one is industrial design, there is trade secrets, right? There is a patent. So there are various types of IPR, and they all need to be strengthened. If IPR will be strengthened, then nobody can copy your design, nobody can copy your idea and produce the same good. So that IPR always increases the innovation and economic activity. The objective of the scheme is to improve the IP culture, obviously intellectual property culture in India, with a view enhance awareness of intellectual property rights. Awareness of intellectual property rights amongst the MSME and encourage creative intellectual endeavor in the Indian economy. Creative intellectual endeavor. Suppose you have something produced from your mind and nobody can copy the exact idea. It also aims to take suitable measures for the protection of ideas, technological innovation, protection of ideas, technological innovation, and knowledge-driven business strategies. Knowledge-driven business strategies developed by the MSMEs for their commercialization, and effective utilization of IPR tools through IP facilitation center. So there will be some IP facilitation center that will effectively utilize the intellectual property right, and that will ensure that your knowledge and idea should not be copied by any other person. That will be secure, right? That will be secure, and that is your intellectual property rights will be conserved and they will not be violated. Right. So if you are producing something because of your innovation, you are the only person who will get the benefit. Other persons will not get the benefit for the same idea. Then financial assistance up to 5 lakh for foreign patent, up to 5 lakh for foreign patent, up to 1 lakh domestic patent, right? 2 lakh for GI, geographical indication registration, 15,000 for the design registration, 10,000 for trademark. So these type of financial assistance will be provided as well, right? See, it is providing 2 lakh for GI, and for domestic, for 5 lakh for foreign patent. If you want to get some foreign patent, then you will get 5 lakh. That means nobody will in the world is allowed to produce the exact product, that is foreign patent. So the government is also providing the financial assistance as well. What are the other schemes related to MSME? There are various schemes related to MSME. One is Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises envisions a vibrant MSME sector by promoting growth and development of MSME sector, including khadi, village and coir industries. Coir industries means bed, for example, those bed, right? Sofas, these are coir industries. The Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Development MSMED Act, remember this act is important. Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Development Act was notified in 2006 to address the policy issues affecting the MSMEs as well as coverage of investment sellings in the sector. Okay, next, Prime Minister Employment Generation Program. Prime Minister Employment Generation Program, PMAGP, is credit linked subsidy schemes. Credit linked subsidy schemes, that means it will take the credit and there will be subsidy. If you are producing a particular goods, there will be subsidy. You get the subsidy as well for setting up new micro enterprises and generate employment opportunities in rural as well as urban areas of the country. Then scheme of fund for regeneration of traditional industries, Spurti. Scheme of fund for regeneration of traditional industries like handicrafts, for example. It will also properly organize the artisans and traditional industries into clusters and thus provide financial assistance to make them competitive in today's market scenario, making them competitive. Right. So the traditional goods and services, the traditional goods that were earlier created, that will we will renovate it by Spurti scheme. Then scheme for promoting innovation in rural industry entrepreneurship, Aspire scheme. A scheme for promoting innovation and rural industries and entrepreneurship, that is Aspire scheme. The scheme promotes innovation, rural entrepreneurship through Rural Livelihood Business Incubator. Rural Livelihood Business Incubator, LBI, Technology Business Incubator and Fund of Funds for Startup Creation in the agro-waste industry. So that will promote innovation and rural industry. Aspire scheme is also there. Next. Then interest subvention scheme, right? If you are taking credit, then they will send back the interest. You don't have to pay the interest for the particular loans. It was introduced in Reserve Bank of India, where relief was provided up to 2% of interest to all the legal MSMEs in their outstanding fresh incremental term loan, right? 2% of the loan are reduced. In the credit guarantee schemes, credit guarantee scheme for micro small enterprises launched to facilitate easy flow of credit guarantee and cover for collateral free credit extended to MSMEs. Collateral, you don't need any mortgage for that. You can only, if you show the model, if you show the land, then they will provide you the money to establish your industry. Then Micro and Small Enterprise Cluster Development Program, MSECDP. It aims to enhance productivity and competitiveness, right? As well as capacity building for MSEs. That is, so better quality. How can we produce better quality of goods? Then Champion Portal. Champions Portal, it aims to assist Indian MSMEs march into big league of national and global champions by solving their grievances and encouraging, supporting, helping and hand holding them. That is Champions Global. It is especially for the promotion of exports, right? For the promotion of exports, that is Champions Portal. Then MSME Samadhan. MSME Samadhan, it enables direct register of their cases if there is any, that is, if there is any grievances, right? Register their cases, delayed payments by central ministries, departments, CPSC, all this, either delay related to payments or any other administrative work, that will be solved by MSME Samadhan, that is grievance redressal portal of the MSME. Then Udyam registration portal, Udyam registration portal. If you are a small MSME, you can register in Udyam registration portal. This new portal assists government in aggregating the data on the number of MSME in the country. Udyam registration portal, and you can go and register. It is very simple. Anybody can go and register in the Udyam register portal and start an MSME. Then MSME Sambandh. It is a public procurement portal. It is launched to monitor the implementation of the public procurement from the MSEs by central public sector enterprises. Public procurement portal, right? Launched to monitor the implementation of public procurement, right? If public procurement means if you are purchasing some goods like from public, and that need to be monitored, that is MSME Sambandh. That means, for example, a huge society is a community, for a tribal society, they are producing some handicrafts, that can be purchased by a particular industry and they can be value added and can be sold in international market. In such situation, that is called as MSME Sambandh. Next topic is environment, that is nuclear waste facility in the Kundakulam. At Kundakulam, right? We have Kundakulam nuclear plant. So there is proposal of, why there is news, Kundakulam Village Panchayat has passed a resolution against construction of away from reactor facility at the Kundakulam nuclear power project site for storing nuclear waste, right? They are opposed that this storing nuclear waste that cannot be created. The Gram Panchayat has passed that. Earlier, the state government, Tamil Nadu, has also opposed the construction of nuclear storage of nuclear waste. The village Panchayat of the view that AFR site, that is away from reactor site, would lead to radioactive pollution, spread the radioactivity and spoil the groundwater, which is used for drinking water and irrigation. So away from the reactor, AFR facility, that will hamper the groundwater and the irrigation system, drinking water. So that is opposed by both the state government and Tamil Nadu of the village panchayat. Okay. So what is an AFR site? The scheme is for storage of spent fuel in a nuclear power plants in twofold. It is a storage of spent fuel in one facility located within the reactor building, service building, generally known as the spent fuel storage, and another is located away from the reactor. Two types of it is, one is within the reactor, second is away from the reactor. Away from the reactor, called as away from reactor spent fuel storage facility. But within the plant premises, the spent fuel storage pool inside the reactor building has limited capacity, okay, as it has limited capacity, and used for immediate storage of the spent fuel removed from the reactor during the refueling. So what is the need of an AFR site? As the size is limited inside, if you want to make the make the storage inside the plant, then there is very few areas, right, few space. That's why you need a away from reactor storage facility, but that is opposed by the Tamil Nadu government and the Gram Panchayat. The fuel remains in the pool initially for few years it to be cooled sufficiently before it shifted to the facility. The fuel remains in the pool few years. It can be stored for few years so that it will cool, and after that it will be transferred. The AFR spent fuel storage facility is functionally similar to spent fuel pool inside the reactor building except the terms of capacity, right? It is similar, the AFR fuel storage facility, it is similar to that facility that is inside the reactor, but the fact is that it is big and that is small, and when it is small, then it has limitation. That's why they want to establish a new away from the reactor facility. It has a big storage facility, but that is opposed. What are the arguments of union government? The proposed AFR facility KKNPP reactors 1 and 2 is for the storage of spent fuel only and not for the storage of nuclear waste, as pursued by few. So there is a difference between nuclear waste and storage of spent fuel, right? So they perceive that it is the nuclear waste, that's why they oppose. It is only the spent fuel, that's why it should not be opposed. Next, the design ensure that there would not be any adverse impact. The design of the storage is such that there will not be any adverse impact of the facility on the personnel or the public or the environment. It is highly secure. It is highly secured as the claimed by the government. The radiation does on account of AFR to the public would be negligible. When compared to the exposure from the natural radiation background sources like soil and sun, etc. So the radiation dose of account of AFR to the public will be negligible, right? So that there will not be any impact on the environment, on the public, so far as AFR is concerned. This has been established that Tarapur and Rawat Bhatta sites, it is in Rajasthan, Rawat Bhatta, where AFSR have been operation in for many years. It is not the first time in India, it is already there in Rajasthan, and there is no such impact on the public or the environment. So this is very secure, and so government should not, or Tamil Nadu government or the Gram Panchayat should not oppose it. That is the argument of the government. Then what is radioactivity? Radioactivity is the phenomenon of spontaneous emission of particles. Spontaneous emission of particles. For example, there is a uranium nucleus. Spontaneous emission of particles means there will be alpha particles, beta particles. What is beta particle? It is a particle that is electron. Alpha particle is a helium atom. So once a helium atom goes out of the nucleus, that is radioactivity, or a beta particle, that is a electron, goes out of the nucleus, so that we can call as beta emission. So this process is called as radioactivity, and in that process huge amount of energy is created. There are three types of radioactivity emissions. One is alpha, beta and gamma rays. Alpha, beta and gamma particles are positively charged helium atoms, beta particles are negatively charged electrons, and gamma are neutral electromagnetic radiations. They produce huge amount of energy. The radioactive elements are naturally found in the earth crust. Uranium, right? Uranium, thorium. We have monazite sands of Kerala, which is huge thorium reserve. We have huge thorium reserve in India, right? We import uranium, and actinium, and are the three norm that is naturally occurring radioactive materials. Actinium series that contaminate the water resources. A small amount of radiation is found in nature, but extended amount of radiation is harmful to human health. So if the radiation becomes more, that hampers the human health. Radioactivity is measured, it is measured in becquerel and curie. Becquerel or curie, these are the units of radioactivity. This question is asked in SSC and other such type of exams many times. What is the unit of radioactivity? Then the unit sievert measures quantity of radiation absorbed by human tissues. Sievert, remember SIEVERT, this measures the quantity of radiations absorbed by human tissues. So this is curie and sievert, these are very important, and I have said three types of radiations, that is alpha emission, beta emission and gamma emission. This is called as radioactivity. Okay, then what are the sources of radioactivity? Norm series, that is natural occurring radioactive metal series, the radioactive elements found in aquatic systems that can be penetrated in groundwater by aquifer rock dissolution, decaying of uranium-238, uranium and 232 thorium. Disruption process, radium is a radioactive nuclide formed by decay of uranium, thorium in the environment. Then magma, sometimes magma also releases radioactive gases into environment. So these are various sources of radioactivity, natural sources, or decaying of uranium and thorium and aquifer rock dissolution. That means if there is an aquifer and the rock that breaks, there is also chances of radioactive irradiations. Soil sediments, percolation of norm from the soil sediments to the aquifer causes groundwater contamination. Atmospheric deposition of cosmogenic radionuclides. Atmospheric deposition of both dry and wet cosmogenic radionuclides, radioactive nuclei in the surface water. Atmospheric depositions and cosmogenic radionuclides are the radioactive isotopes which are produced by natural processes and distribution within our system. So that means there are various natural sources of radioactive materials as well. They can pollute groundwater, they can pollute environment, they can become a threat to us. For example, that they may be created in magma also. So these are the various sources that create radioactive disintegration or radioactive processes. Then what are the anthropogenic activities? These are, we have already discussed the natural activities. Then anthropogenic activities, nuclear reactors and nuclear warhead experiment. Nuclear reactors and nuclear warhead experiment, they may create These are human-induced radionuclide discharge. They may create nuclear radiations. Then, nuclear reactors produce radioisotopes. Radioisotopes like cobalt-60 and iridium-192, radioisotopes that hand out as sources of gamma radiation and radiotherapy in numerous industrial appliances, right? These are used in various industries and they may radiate gamma radiation, right? Gamma radiation also highly penetrable to human body, and that may create various diseases like cancer. Nuclear power plants placed in coastal regions, are to radiological contaminants in marine water by releasing the atomic waste. Atomic waste are also there and they release them, and that contaminates the marine biodiversity. Then dumping of radioactivity waste, we do not have proper system for that. Dumping of radioactive waste, the application of radioactive elements in nuclear weapons, X-rays, MRI and other medical equipment causes their exposure to human beings. Right? If you are taking MRI or X-rays, then you are getting susceptible to various radiations, and there is chances that you will suffer the negative consequences. Dumping of these radioactive waste in the surface water bodies causes water pollution. Right? Dumping of the radioactive waste from these equipments is also, they may also cause radioactive pollution. Then mining activities of radioactive elements like uranium and thorium also pollute the surface. Right? If you are mining the thorium, you are mining the uranium, we have certain sources. I have already said monazite sands of Kerala, that there is mining of thorium, they may also create pollution. Then nuclear accidents, nuclear radioactive pollution due to nuclear submarine accidents, sinking have been reported. Nuclear submarine accidents, Fukushima, Chernobyl nuclear disaster, these are nuclear disasters are examples of such nuclear accidents. They create huge amount of radiation and toxic gases. These such type of radiations lead to genetic mutations as well. Right? Environmental hazards, they causes cancer. So there is various types of problems that are associated with nuclear radiations. Okay. What are the effects of radioactive pollutions on health? Human tissue absorb radiation through polluted water. That is maybe because of man-made causes or because of natural causes, which cause serious health risk. High doses of radiation can cause acute radiation syndrome or dermal radiation injury. Acute radiation syndrome or dermal radiation injury, and that will harm. This causes various disorders in human physiology, including cancer, leukemia, genetic mutations, cataracts. Right? Cancer, leukemia, genetic mutations and cataracts, these are the various diseases that may occur in human body. Then mutations and structural alternation, genetic effects ionizing radiation, induces mutations of germ cells. There is something called radiotherapy that can cause mutations in germ cells, male sperm cells, female egg cells, they may cause mutations, resulting in the structural alternation of germ cell DNA. So there is chances that if you are undergoing radiotherapy, there is chances that there will be genetic changes in your sperm or ovum. Then DNA that pass into offspring, hereditary disorders can lead to premature death and severe mental illness. Hereditary disorders can cause premature death and severe mental illness. These are the potential hazards that can be created by radioactive radiation. Next, what is T Kanya Shiksha Pravesh Utsav? What is Kanya Shiksha Pravesh Utsav? Recently, government launched nationwide campaign. It's a nationwide campaign called Kanya Shiksha Pravesh Utsav on the eve of International Women's Day, 8th March. Remember, International Women's Day, not National Women's Day. International Women's Day, 8th March. And the nationwide campaign is called as Kanya Shiksha Pravesh Utsav. This campaign was to bring back 4 lakh out of school adolescent girls, right? During the teenage girls, there are 4 lakh out of school adolescent girls in the 11th and 14th years age group into the education system. They are out of the schools. That is the scheme is, that is Kanya Shiksha Pravesh Utsav. What are the key components? The 8 points that aim to work complete system out of school girls. Complete system for out of school girls, building existing schemes and programs such as schemes for adolescent girls, SAG, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, National Education Policy. So all these schemes will be amalgamated, and those women's, okay, those women's, so those children, those female or those women need to bring back to the schools. Then implementing agencies, it will be implemented by Ministry of Women and Child Development. Ministry of Women and Child Development, they will implement it. Remember, it is not by Human Resource Development. Many times they ask whether it is Human Resource Development or Ministry of Women, because it is related to Shiksha. So there is a by idea, just by idea you may write it is that Ministry of Human Resource Development, but it is not like that. Remember, Ministry of Women is implementing Kanya Shiksha Pravesh Utsav. Okay. The campaign focuses on convergence and coordination between ministries, department and states. Convergence and coordination between ministry, department and states. The campaign will be implemented as a part of BBB project, that is Beti Bachao Beti Padhao project, with primary beneficiaries over 4 lakhs out of school adolescent girls. 4 lakh out of school adolescent girls will be focused. Over 400 districts across all the states will be funded under the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao scheme. Grassroots outreach and awareness generation and to sensitive communities, families to enroll the adolescent girls. So that will create awareness among all the masses in the 400 districts to bring back these adolescent girls to the schools. Next, further funding from Samagra Shiksha Abhijan. Samagra Shiksha Abhijan and Anganwadi workers, AWWS, will be further incentivized for counseling and referring out of school adolescent girls. Right. So if Anganwadi workers, they will refer out of school girls, and they will be they will be able to counsel those girls to bring back to the school. They will be incentivized. This is the provisions according to by the schemes. Then data to be collected. It strives to collect data out of school girls based on their visits to Anganwadi centers for nutrition, education and skilling. So Anganwadi centers will play a big role. Significance that will bringing out of school bags about education system has been the target since right to education was enacted in 2009. It's a fundamental right under Article 21A. So it's very important. It need to be implemented. But the need of this campaign, the need has arisen because scheme for adolescent girls is initial took care of out of school girls was getting less attraction. Right? It is not successful. That's why again it is. So again this scheme is launched that will promote the Anganwadi workers to counsel those adolescent girls and bring back to the schools. For that they will be incentivized. Next we will discuss the objective questions. To meet the rapid growing energy demand, some opine that India should purely pursue research and development on thorium. Research and thorium as a future nuclear energy. In this context, what are the advantages does the thorium over uranium? Thorium is far more abundant in nature than uranium, yes. Then on the basis of per unit mass mined mineral, thorium can generate more energy as compared to natural uranium, yes. So thorium produces less harmful waste as compared to natural uranium. So in this all the 3 options are correct. So 1, 2, 3 are right. So thorium is better in so far as mining is concerned, so far as harmful waste is concerned, thorium is better than uranium, and also it is more abundant in nature. Okay, next. With reference to Organization for Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, OPCW, it is an organization for the European nation and working related with NATO and WHO. NATO is a military exercise. NATO is a military organization, so there is no work of NATO here. Right? It's a military organization, so it do not have any relationship with disarmament. Right? So first option is wrong. It's an international treaty, right? Okay, and that international treaty establishes Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons. It monitors chemical weapons industry to prevent weapons from emerging. Yes, it is right. Provide assistance and protection to the states parties against chemical weapons. So 2 and 3 options are right. This is third sentence. Third sentence are right. It is not started by NATO, right? It is started by the international treaty. Then, consider the following statements about Kanya Shiksha Pravesh Utsav. Kanya Shiksha Pravesh Utsav. On the eve of this, like see, it is National Women's Day. It is not National Women's Day. It is International Women's Day, 8 March. Right. So first statement is wrong, and only the second statement. The aim of the campaign is to bring back 4 lakh out of school adolescent girls in 11 to 14 years group. So second option is right. The next question. What is the rank of India in intellectual property rights? Third. Okay. And Kundakulam nuclear plant, it is in Tamil Nadu, right? That is started because the locals and the Tamil Nadu government opposed away from the reactor storage of used fuels. That's why it is in news. So this is the end of lecture. Like this video, share this video, and subscribe to Vanik-Ias Academy. Encourage us to continue this program. Thank you.